All right, guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about some Star Wars rumors, a couple of big rumors. Take them with a huge grain of salt. One of them being that Brie Larson is actually cast as Mara Jade. This is not going to go well with a lot of people, including Geeky, who is going to sit this video out. She's actually working on the election today. That's what she's doing today. She's doing her patriotic duty, but she's like, oh, hell no, that Brie Larson plays Mara Jade. But this is all rumor, and this rumor has been going around for a while. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about Kathleen Kennedy possibly getting gone again. Huge rumor. This rumor has been floating around for a while. You know, cannot confirm it, but we're hearing from multiple sources that they're looking for a way to, I guess, gently nudge her out the door without causing a scene, because, you know, you can't let the man babies win. You can't let the Star Wars detractors win. You can't let those nasty alt-right YouTubers win. So we'll just make it look organic, and she'll just sort of go her own way, and we'll go our way, and that'll be it. But who's going to take her place? Kevin Feige, maybe? The word is he's not really interested in leading Lucasfilm in addition to Marvel. So we're going to talk about all of this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here at Clownfish TV. We're almost 190,000. We're like 50 away. So if you could smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, it'd be greatly appreciated. Again, Geeky Sparkles is going to be sitting out the next couple of videos. She is doing her patriotic duty today and helping with the election, so you're stuck with me. And this rumor coming from We Got This Covered, who got it from some guy's Patreon. So, you know, again, take it with a huge grain of salt. We know that Brie Larson is, well, we're going to talk about the Captain Marvel situation, that she basically got sidelined, or is getting sidelined in Captain Marvel 2. They're not even going to call it Captain Marvel 2. They're going to call it the Marvels. We're going to have multiple Marvels. We're going to have Carol Danvers. We're going to have Monica Rambeau. And we're going to have Ms. Marvel. And then I guess America Chavez, too, is going to show up in this thing. I don't know. That's what they're talking about here. So they're going to have a whole bunch of characters that Marvel Comics had a hard time selling. But we're going to put them all in one movie and hopefully make it work, except for Monica Rambeau. Just want to point out again, I do like Monica Rambeau. She paid her due. She's been around since the 80s, and she was the leader of the Avengers when I was a kid, and she was the only female Captain Marvel I knew for many years. And then they brought Carol Danvers back, and here we are. So anyway, Brie Larson, yeah, she's not terribly popular with a lot of fans. That's kind of an understatement. And it could be that she's looking to move on to other things. She's been gunning for Star Wars for a while, and the rumor is she is talking currently with Lucasfilm about being Mara Jade. Yes, the wife of Luke Skywalker in the expanded universe, another character that they completely threw out the window when they got rid of the expanded universe. But, you know, in true Disney-owned Lucasfilm fashion, they're going back to the expanded universe, and they're cherry-picking the things that work, the things that had fans. And, you know, Geeky and I were talking about this, and she was like, this is just, if this is true, that's the biggest middle finger that Lucasfilm could give to the fandom. And a couple of years ago, I would have said, nah, they wouldn't do that because it's not smart business. But we've seen in the last couple of years, in the last year especially, that Lucasfilm is not really good at smart business. They keep making stupid decisions to alienate and infuriate longtime Star Wars fans. Would they do this just to stick it to the man babies in a very passive aggressive way? Absolutely. Absolutely they would. And they would delight at the pain of longtime Star Wars fans seeing a beloved EU character played by someone that is not well liked by a lot of people in the same circles. They would love it. Again, though, this is a huge rumor. Some websites are reporting it as fact. Until we see it, no. And honestly, you know, Bob Chapek, has to be looking at this like, yeah, she really couldn't carry Captain Marvel. A lot of people don't seem to like her. We have to rename Captain Marvel to The Marvels just to kind of trick people into going to see it, I guess. And we're going to put her as a lead in Star Wars. That's not good business. But anyway, here we go. We got this covered. Huge, huge rumor. Brie Larson has made it known that she's a massive Star Wars fan and has pitched herself as Lucasfilm's next leading lady on social media a few times, something that her fans like the sounds of. Her fans do. To date, there's been no official word from either the studio or the star on if they've been in contact, but new intel is pointing to Larson being in talks to match her turn as Captain Marvel in the MCU with another iconic heroine in the Star Wars universe. We've heard from our sources this week, the same ones who told us Ahsoka Tano was going to appear in The Mandalorian Season 2 long before it happened, that Brie Larson is in discussions with Lucasfilm to play Mara Jade. This will obviously raise a lot of eyebrows, as Mara is one of the most notable Legends characters and notable Legends of the lot, and one that fans have been campaigning to be brought back into the canon for years, but not with Brie Larson. Oh, God. A while ago, we heard that Larson was being eyed for the part, and according to what we've been told recently, things have now progressed to the two parties talking about the possibility. There's no word if she's the only one who Lucasfilm is speaking to, but if she does indeed end up with a role, it's likely she'll feature in Kevin Feige's upcoming Star Wars movie, given their established professional partnership. For those unfamiliar with her, Mara Jade was originally the Emperor's Hand, his Force-sensitive top assassin before she reformed, married Luke Skywalker, and became a Jedi Master. Luke and Mara's marriage might have been removed from the equation, but a lot about her EU story could still be carried over onto the screen. Definitely feels like only a matter of when we can expect her to make it in the live action and not if. And as for whether Brie Larson will play the part, we'll have to wait and see. No! Stop casting blondes with no talent in redhead roles. It's never an acceptable substitution. It's like swapping out wine with vinegar. Ooh. George Lucas, shame on you for selling Star Wars and letting Disney get their money-grubbing hooks into it. No, this is the problem. There is no money grubbing hooks. The problem is they're money averse at Lucasfilm. Disney may be interested in making money, and maybe frantically trying to cobble something together that resembles Star Wars to try to make money. And they're looking at the EU and they're like, who is popular, But Lucasfilm themselves, they seem to be money averse. At this point, you look at the Disney licensed merchandise, and it's almost exclusively original trilogy and Mandalorian. But you look at what Lucasfilm is producing, and it's The High Republic, The Last Jedi, bonehead decision after bonehead decision. Please, God, just let Star Wars bow out. That's how I feel about it at this point. I really do. I had a little glimmer of hope with The Mandalorian. Geeky has more hope for Star Wars than I do. I don't think there's any lesson that can be taught. Disney is just, they're flushing the IP down the toilet. They keep making these stupid decisions every time that they have something good going for them, like The Mandalorian. It gets tarnished with, Pablo Hidalgo mocking fans. The controversial termination of Gina Carano off The Mandalorian. The High Republic trying to smear Luke Skywalker, in other media to downplay Luke Skywalker, because there are clearly some people working at Lucasfilm that despise Luke Skywalker and everything he stood for. Now we're going to put Brie Larson in as one of the most beloved EU characters of all time. Again, that's a huge middle finger if it's true. What are you going to do, man, babies? We got Mara Jade, but it's going to be Brie Larson. You're going to have to deal with it. Man, baby tears. Yeah. Geeky is not amused. I hope to God it's not true. But you know what? Even if it is, I don't know if I care enough anymore about any of this to get worked up about it. I just think it's a stupid business move. I think it's an incredibly stupid business move. But again, Lucasfilm is cash averse these days. So let's talk about Lucasfilm, the future of Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy, is her tenure coming to a close? Now, we do have a Disney insider WDW Pro, who writes for Pirates and Princesses. And he's been saying for quite some time, him and a few others, there are some other YouTubers like Doomcock that have been getting similar information, that Kathleen Kennedy is on her way out. Now, people thought she was getting fired a couple of years ago, and we said, no, they're not going to let that happen, especially not on Bob Iger's watch. Now, that's the thing. Bob Iger loved Kathleen Kennedy, apparently. Bob Chapek's opinion of her might be different. In fact, it does look like there are some things at Disney that are being walked back on Chapek's watch, and Chapek probably does not like to field these really uncomfortable questions from investors, regarding the state of Star Wars, regarding the state of the theme parks, a lot of these decisions that were probably set in motion on Bob Iger's watch. We know Bob Iger had a definite political agenda. There's been talk that he wants to run for president. He wants to be the president of the United States, presumably 99.9% sure, on the Democratic ticket. So he's been making moves that are signaling to the Democrats that he's a good guy. Maybe not good at making money, sometimes, but he's one of the good guys. He's progressive. They're gonna want to vote for him, and part of that, I think, has been to let Kathleen Kennedy just do whatever the hell she feels like doing. Now, here's the thing. I was actually excited to hear initially when George Lucas appointed Kathleen Kennedy. I was actually excited to hear that she was going to be in charge of Lucasfilm because her name does appear on a lot of classic 80s and 90s movies. I mean, anything Steven Spielberg, most of George Lucas's stuff, like Kathleen Kennedy was involved somehow in it. But now we're finding out that, it's one thing to have your name thrown up on the silver screen. It's another thing to actually run a production company, and especially something that is established like Star Wars, and it's basically all gone to shit. On her watch, it's definitely gone to shit. So is she going to leave? I don't know. Pro seems to think so. Kathleen Kennedy's tenure as the head of Lucasfilm may be coming to a close, he says, and he thinks that Indiana Jones 5 is going to be her swan song. Why are we making an Indiana Jones 5? We don't need to make... Did they not see the fourth one? We don't need another Indiana Jones. Just stop it. Just stop. Stop it. Anyway, he says, if you've been following Star Wars, you've probably read articles like the one above. Behind the doors of Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm. You know that there are people who defend Kathleen Kennedy and those who despise how she's performed, but the tenuous relationship she's had with Disney was ultimately frayed when Favreau demonstrated how popular Star Wars can be with The Mandalorian. Again, they kept trying to spin it like it was Star Wars fatigue. It wasn't Star Wars fatigue, it was shitty Star Wars fatigue. Look at the High Republic. Compare it to the return of Luke Skywalker. When Star Wars is good and it's handled by people who get it and who have respect for what has come before and have respect for the fandom, Star Wars can still be good, or good-ish. Depends on who you ask. Anyway, The Mandalorian has been one of the only bright spots in Disney's Star Wars experiment. Everything else has kind of gone to shit. Except Rogue One. Rogue One was pretty good. I'll give him that. Yet that was somewhat squandered with the mishandling of Carano. Everybody was excited about Luke Skywalker coming back, except Pablo Hidalgo. Everybody was ecstatic about Luke Skywalker coming back. They were pumped for season 3 of The Mandalorian. We had freaking Boba Fett. We had Luke Skywalker. We had all these new characters that people were falling in love with, including Cara Dune. And in one fell swoop, Disney, or rather probably Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm, fucked the whole thing up. Whatever your opinion of the actress is, the way in which she was terminated from the company was a public relations nightmare. Yeah, Forbes called them out. They said this was stupid. Now, Variety is saying Feige is seen as the most essential executive at Disney, having proved his mettle with the MCU and WandaVision after it was announced in 2019 that Feige would produce a Star Wars movie. Again, this is the one they're talking about Brie Larson being in. There were rumors that he might assume more control of Lucasfilm. However, insiders say that Feige is fully committed to Marvel and has no ambition to lead Lucasfilm or take more of a role. Now, in the above quote from a Variety article by Brent Lang and Matt Donnelly, you'll notice the insiders they've spoken with are purposefully throwing Kathleen Kennedy, as well as Pixar leaders, under the proverbial bus. Feige, the head of Marvel, is the real essential executive, and while they heap praise on other Disney execs throughout their expose, Kennedy is essentially forgotten. I think she was Iger's one of Iger's favorites. And look, they listened to her to their own detriment. They had Galaxy's Edge, which could have been a legit Harry Potter rival if they had just based it on the original trilogy, or at least on recognizable Star Wars. And it was Kathleen Kennedy's brain fart to go in a completely different direction and theme a $1 billion park expansion on a brand new planet that nobody recognized and base it on her sequel trilogy. You know, take place in that timeline, and it basically became an overpriced LARPing experience designed by the Lucasfilm Story Group. And it did not do well at first. I mean, it does well now, I guess, but it could have done so much better if it had been Tatooine, if it had been Coruscant, if it had been Endor, planets that people recognized. It would have been a slam dunk right out of the gate if they had both rides open, if they had 3 rides open, but they cut the budget on it. The whole thing has been kind of a cluster, and that comes from, I believe, listening to Kathleen Kennedy. So Pro says, we reported for the past year that Disney would likely be amicable to some easy way to part with Mrs. Kennedy. But what's telling is that Variety is now putting the information out into the public sphere that their position, with their position as a trade publication, and Disney does, they listen to Variety. So what they're going to do, if they get rid of her, they'll be like, oh, Kathy's going to go start her own production company. She's moving on to greener pastures. She's going to go start a production company. It's not that we're firing her. It's that she's moving on to greener pastures. She'll go start her own production company, and then we'll just, stream her content on Disney Plus or something. But it's not actually going to be part of Disney, or it will be part of Disney. Who knows? Who knows? So if you listen to the second quarter earnings report held by Disney last week, you may have noticed that they weren't thrilled with Disney Plus's growth. That's true. So Pro is speculating that she could get an extension for Indiana Jones 5. God, Harrison Ford's over 80 years old. He's 80 years old. Yeah, why would you even do an Indiana Jones 5 with an 80-year-old Harrison Ford? It's ridiculous. But they're saying that this might be her swan song. It might be her swan song, and they might just kind of nudge her out the door, give her another position. She might go, start something on her own. Who knows? Who the hell knows? But there's definitely something up over there. There are a lot of rumors, and again, they are rumors, but I don't think Kathy has the protection she had under Bob Iger, that's for sure. And look, if they've got the person coming to them, the same source coming to them and telling them that Brie Larson's in talks with Lucasfilm, God help us all. It's like, I'm definitely not watching that one. I know Geeky will not be watching that one. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. It's run kind of long. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.